And we have 20 humans in. Oh, nice. I think we can find.
We're ready to kick off.
Yes.
Yay, let's go.
Great.
I'm going to keep letting people come in and out as we go through. But hello, everybody. Wow, so lovely to be here with such a magnificent big group of people.
I can't see you, and I'm missing you. Oh, there you are. Okay,
Yeah,
everything's under control.
Can see everyone. Yeah, we're good. We're all good.
Just a little codependent.
So before we kick off, if you do come in halfway through, you should just keep yourself muted. It's so lovely to see everyone on camera. That's amazing. If you have any questions, you can just have a look for the chat box. Please feel free to use the chat while we're going. You can leave a question in there or a comment with each other. It'll be wonderful for us to engage in there while Simona and I are sharing. And then we'll have a chance to chat at the end and discuss anything that we've been through. And I think it's a nice time to kick off.
Great. Can we turn the sound off, do you think?
Yeah, I'll have a look at how we can make the doorbell
It's like
stop.
totally giving me that feeling of being at a casino, and like I feel very
Jackpot. Let's see.
acknowledged. But
there we go. I think I found it. You can now
great.
quietly arrive or leave. Okay, perfect. So you all would have seen somewhere along the line on the invite, either by email or WhatsApp, that our session tonight is a co-hosting session with myself, Tamarin, and the wonderful Simona. And we are talking today about how to attract that ideal client, the one that you just love to work with, the one that feels completely aligned with your work and your values without having to spend a whole ton of marketing. So if you've even got any thoughts or questions that come up about that, comment. Like I said, please feel free to use the chat. It's really an interactive session, a community session. So you can go ahead and write anything that even that idea brings up for you, or any questions or comments as we go. And then we've got some exciting things for you as we get to the end of the session. Simona is going to be showing you giving you a beautiful step-by-step guide of the portal, which is something that we're going to be speaking about. And she's also going to take you through a way that you can be on the portal and part of her community. So we're going to definitely cover that at the end, and you'll have lots of chance to ask questions. But maybe you want to just introduce yourself, Simona, for those who maybe are just meeting you for the first time.
Oh, hi, everybody. So those of you who don't know me, my name is Simona, and I am the founder of the S.O.L.O community, a thriving, wonderful WhatsApp community that brings me so much joy, that is my purpose. And as you know, we've started the portal. I've also got another business, which is Conscious Concierge, that's just started. So I connect seekers to sages, and that's like a little bit more one-on-one, a little bit more bespoke. As some of you know, and a few of you are in here, my absolute passion is sacred sexuality and liberating people into that. And a fun fact is I'm definitely a spiritual travel junkie. That's how you're going to get me going anyway. If there's a festival, a gathering, a retreat, a sacred site, that's how you get me going. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
Wonderful, thanks. And I'm Tamrin. I work with individuals who are wanting to grow their presence online, to design their offers, to build their impact and their audience, always working with individuals and personal brands. And I have a school that I do that under called the Differently Business School and the Differently Community, where we learn to examine things from the sometimes hidden side. So it's such a pleasure to bring all those skills into your world and into the S.O.L.O community this evening. And I think a good place for us to kick off, now that you've got a context on who's here and who's sharing with you, is maybe just to touch a little bit on the experience that you may be having in your own work. And I'll hand over to you, Simona, to just talk about what you've noticed as you've been building the community, some of the things that you've been hearing, and some of the experiences that you've had for yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm sure most of us are sages on here, and as you can see in these pictures, it's overwhelming being a solopreneur. The amount of admin and tasks, it's overwhelming. You've got to be on Facebook, you've got to know your Instagram, you've got to know your hashtags. Then you've got to be on meetups, and if you're not on meetups, are you missing this person? You can often feel like you're screaming into the void. This is my most common complaint I have myself, is like I'm offering this amazing work and you feel like you're in the void, and it's just overwhelming. And yeah, so these are some of the things that really come up, and this is what, S.O.L.O, the inception of S.O.L.O was to help people not feel alone and create this community around this beautiful work that most of us provide.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, there may be some people who are here who, maybe got shared a link, or maybe they've been hanging out in some of your communities for a while. Maybe you're just starting out. Maybe you're already quite far down your journey and well established with your own set of clients. But regardless of where you are, there's likely a desire, a goal that you have in mind of what it could be like to bring your work into the world. And I know, Simona, you've been sharing with me some of what you see for your own work and your own business, and maybe you can share a little bit about what that feels like for you and what some of your other community members have told you.
Yeah, so I really want to imagine this, a world where no matter where a seeker goes, they find the perfect sage to guide them through whatever they're moving through. A world where every sage, including you, has a steady flow of aligned seekers who resonate with your gifts and your approach. Picture logging into your schedule every morning and your calendar, and it's filled with incredible high vibe clients. You're not stressed out about finding the next booking or worrying about where your next paycheck is coming. You're focused on the work, and you're fully present with the seekers who trust and value your guidance. You're not doing marketing, and you're not like doing all these gazillion other things as a solopreneur. You're focusing on the work, the healing that you are, at your zone of genius. This is a world where marketing isn't focus or chasing. It's about connection. You're not just attracting clients, you're drawing in seekers who align to your zone of genius. Each person is a joy to work with, and you're energized, not drained by your practice. And it's all because, well, this is what I'd like it to all be, because of the ecosystem that's designed to create abundance. Because the more seekers we have and the more sages we have, the bigger and more beautiful and luscious our garden is. And I truly believe that there is enough abundance for all of us, that each one of us is a seeker and each one of us is a sage. And I just really want to populate the world and really bring this conscious community to light, and for it not to be in little segments, but to be the whole world.
Wow. That's a perfect moment for you to tell us a little bit about the way that the S.O.L.O community came to be. You had that vision for yourself, for sure, and it's morphed into a vision that's shared with many people who've joined the community over time. Maybe you want to just share with us how that came to be. How did you create this beautiful space?
Yeah, thank you. So S.O.L.O was started during lockdown, when all these online offerings started coming up, and everyone was also freaking out because they needed to know answers and to calm their nervous systems because of all the turmoil. And so I realized I had a whole bunch of sages and facilitators that I'd worked with, and I have a whole bunch of people asking me for details and links. And then I have a whole bunch of people that need to do the work. So I created a WhatsApp group and I shoved everyone into the group. And then that's where S.O.L.O was birthed. And this was 4 years ago, one broadcast group. I made it broadcast, so it was like really low traffic, not to disturb anyone. And here we are 4 years later, 12 groups, a global group, 1,600 members. Obviously on the back end, I can see how much it's growing daily. There's just more people joining and joining. I've now joined other international groups. Like, this is really, we're so lucky to be in the place and doing the work that we're doing. So yeah, so that was S.O.L.O's conception. It was also to support sages. And yes, we live in this world where we have the software and the tools to do everything ourselves. But that's kind of exhausting, as I'm sure many of us have experienced, that actually the world wasn't meant to be an island. We are supposed to be in community. And someone like Tamron, who's a strategist, and I'm like, I'm tired of doing everything by myself. I'm exhausted and I need a strategy and I need help. And that's why I have brought in Tamron. And that's why I would go to another facilitator to help with another problem or an issue or a personal growth point. So I believe that we all have our zones of genius, and mine is connection and connecting people. So this is what I have brought. Yeah, and that was the conception.
Amazing. And what a privilege it is to be here talking about what I love to talk about, which is a word that's maybe a bit of a triggering word, maybe a bit of a dirty word to use in a space that considers itself conscious, and that people who call themselves sages, is this idea of a brand. When Simona and I were putting the session together, she was like, brand feels a bit icky, like Coca-Cola or some other big machine. You get this idea of like this big corporate that just wants to crunch away at anything precious and sacred. But what I really want us to do in this session, as part of these three key teachings that we're going to go through, is to reflect on the concept in a slightly different way. Because in its essence, the idea of a brand is a set of messaging ideas. It might be the way that we speak, it might be the way that we dress, it might be the methodology that we use. And whether we're being intentional about it or not, people are perceiving that in a certain way. And most importantly, they are identifying with it and feeling aligned and attracted, or they're feeling repelled. And while that's true for big brands and these big fancy people who sit around boardroom tables and maybe use that knowledge for harm, we can gather in communities like this and use the same ideas and principles to think, how can we actually be aware that we are attracting and aligning with people who we want to, either deliberately or just accidentally. And what we're doing here today is we're just taking a moment to be reflective and deliberate about what it means to build a presence for oneself that feels attractive to the people that we want to work with. And Simona, I want to we can do a bit of ping pong with this idea back and forward and be quite conversational. And as I said, I really just invite people to chime in the comments. I see Eric's writing brands and archetypes. Absolutely. I'd love you to share your reflections, Simona, on this idea, this concept, the essence of it.
Great. Yeah, this particular one right now.
Yeah, I know you were like, oh, I don't know if you should talk about brands. And I was like, well, you've got a brand.
Yeah,
You like it or not?
Tamron and I were brainstorming over this, and I took the copy and I completely changed most of it because I was like, people are going to freak out around the word brand. And it was so quick after chatting to Tamron for like 5 minutes that I realized I do have a brand and a voice. And it's really important to hone in on that and to understand it. Another point that Tam really brought home was the authenticity of it, which I'm really excited to speak more into, I think, later, where, you know, we are so lucky to be doing this work because it is about ourselves and is about the more authentic we are, the brand is going to just become so clear and crisp. And who do you know better than yourself?
Yes, exactly. I mean, and that brings us into the three teaching points for this session. The first one is how to define the unique selling point. That's like the biggest marketing jargon you're ever going to get out there, but there's some really good news about that, and we started to hint at it already. And then we're going to move on to talking about how to really craft a presence both online and in a physical space that reflects that. And then lastly, and a nice big chunky teaching point, is what are the strategies to make sure that you get a client flow into your life. So on that first point, how to define your unique selling point, the good news is there's nothing more you need to do. There's nothing to add on. There's no additional things you need to manufacture. The real secret to being incredibly magnetic in your own work is to become more of yourself. And that might mean removing layers of who we think we are supposed to be showing up as, writing in a way that maybe we inherited from other people, when we're sending emails to clients, or if we're doing any of our own marketing emails, absorbing things from the outside that are actually interfering with how we truly want to speak and want to show up and want to be. And I know, Simona, you had some beautiful ideas to share on this.
Yeah, it's such an interesting one because we're so easily trapped by, especially with AI, it's just become so easy to, you know, find another voice. And it's like, how do we take these layers off and how do we become more ourselves in our marketing? And for me, it's really about like showing up as yourself and being present because we are a community. So, you know, commenting on that person's, you know, post, you know, showing up as yourself authentically is really, really important. Maybe sending a video, DMing them with consent. You know, these are really, really important and beautiful and easy things to do. It's just being present.
Yeah, and look, I often get this. I work with lots of different personal brands, as I said, people who sell their own expertise, skills, services, either in one-on-one sessions or in courses or in mentorship containers. And the number one question I get is, what about the competition? People always say that. What if there's someone else who's selling something that looks a little bit similar to me? And I say something that's usually quite surprising, and you can see I'm quite a, you know, with something like the Differently community, I enjoy a bit of myth busting. But when it comes to a personal brand, so you showing up as yourself, offering your help or your services, there is literally no competition, because nobody can compete with you bringing your essence into an interaction with someone. And there might be 100 seekers out there who are looking for what they think a solution is to their problem, but the person who resonates with you, using your language as it feels comfortable and authentic, and speaking your truth as it feels comfortable and authentic, is going to be attracted with such a force that there is no needing to worry about using any language or jargon that doesn't feel aligned for you. And I know that can feel like a nice idea, but I have experienced it literally with hundreds of clients that I've worked with, that the more they are able to step into what feels true for them and say words that maybe they've been afraid is not acceptable for public sort of corporate appearances or what you can put on social media, and the more that they peel away those layers, the more magnetic they become for the right person. Whereas on the other hand, the more broad you try and speak, because you might be in a bit of a space of scarcity, because you want to see how broadly you can attract people, the less forcefully you can attract the right person towards you. And that is an experiment that has run over and over and over again. And I have seen it so many times that I can rely on that to unfold beautifully the more somebody shows up confidently. And even again, a beautiful example is putting this session together and sending out the invitations to go. You know, there were a couple of iterations even of our own communication of the session that felt a little formal. And then my encouragement was like, hey, what would this sound like if you were telling a friend over a cup of tea? Like, what language comes out of you if that's how you were inviting them? And that is the language to lean into. I see you want to say
Yeah, and
something,
I'm
Savannah.
so grateful because even though I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, know this, one really does need to be reminded. And it really is a practice. So yeah, thank you for, I'm so grateful to have you as a coach. And I'm so grateful for this community that we are all reflections and are all there for each other. But yeah, that is definitely something to remind ourselves constantly of. One cannot hear that enough. And it really is a practice.
Yeah, it is. It's like a day, it's a literal daily practice. And it's always good to have a community where you can soundboard things and say, hey, how does this sound? And I can be like, it doesn't sound like you, try again. But it's serious. It happens over and over again. So there's almost this piece, this permission piece of how can I speak in a conversational way about what I know happens for my clients when I work with them. And that becomes the most attractive, magnetic messaging about what you do. So that's kind of the first foundation of the conversation that we're having tonight. And then the second piece is about building presence online. And we're going to use a bit of the S.O.L.O story to unpack that a bit. And maybe you want to hop in here and talk about the journey of building the S.O.L.O community online for that second piece.
Yeah, sure. What a journey, starting with 127 people, and then, shoving them all on, and then seeing so many of them leave, and that was devastating. And then seeing that I had a wait list, because at that point in time, WhatsApp had a capacity. So it's been like 4 years, and I actually really should try count how many events I have collaborated with and how many iterations and learnings. But the one thing that's definitely comes up the most is, really getting back into essence. Uh, Building an online presence that truly reflects your brand needs to resonate with the right seeker. And as sages, we love to over talk. We can do everything. We can do a mushroom ceremony and sage a house and take away the ghost. And I do tarot cards and I do this. And it's like, what is the essence? How can you really bring it in and go to the core? How do I make this simple and clear? And this is, I can't tell you how many iterations of the the Sage and Sage Pro, that page on the portal, I have edited the most and have the most questions about, and simplifying things. I think you said something really fun and beautiful today about one of the presidents that wrote that thing. What was it, Tam?
Yes, there's some story that goes around the messaging and marketing world that which I think is rooted in truth, that a UK president wrote a letter to an American president, and it was pages and pages and pages, and the opening line said, "Please excuse my long letter. I didn't have the time to be brief." Meaning the idea of getting something really down to its core and being extremely succinct takes time. It takes time to be succinct, and it's a process that can unfold and with practice, which is one of the themes that's already emerged from this session. Is there anything else?
And well, this is what brings me to the page on the portal. You know, we've designed it so that it is actually incredibly simple, so that it is in essence, so that the seeker is coming and going, yep, this is my person. I can see a video from them. I can look into their eyes, because pictures are incredibly important to have that resonance, to see if there's trust. And then there's that, little bit of writing, and yes, they can go to your website, which is really important. And there's the testimonials. Let's keep it simple. We fluff it up so much, and like, how can we simplify things? Yeah, so that's the one point. And then the other one is how, and we've touched on this, is engaging in community. This it's awful, but this pump and dump, where we just come and we dump our flyer and expect that people are going to show up. How can you be more engaging? How can you pick up on that one person that's saying, I'm, really in a distressed place, and I'm really struggling to focus. And you're like, oh, maybe they should do microdosing. And that's what I do. Oh, I'll reach out to them and I'll put it on the group and say, hey, have you considered microdosing? And then someone's like, oh, well, this person does microdosing. I should consider microdosing. So really, like, also showing up in a more human way, and just like, throwing flyers out there. Yeah, I think that's also really, really important into, building that online presence, because you're building a relationship with the community. And I know that there's quite a few sages on here that do speak up on the group and are well known. And I'm like sure that they're actually getting quite a lot of clients because of that. So yeah, it's my invitation is to be like more present.
Thank you. So we're going to move into the third and more chunky teaching for tonight, which is this idea of how to have a stream of clients. Like, how do you maintain a constant flow of clients? And I want to speak about the sort of evolution of marketing and sales as a kind of lesson. I'm going to stand up and do some drawing, and I'm going to go quite a pace, and you can feel free to just write anything in the comments that maybe doesn't feel clear or that you want to ask as I'm going. But I want to start off with comparing traditional marketing and sales, and then modern marketing and sales, and then community-based, which is really the most recent and significant evolution in how people are getting clients and customers. So the traditional is the literal, old-fashioned, obvious idea of the man with his vacuum cleaner from the 50s and 60s who would go knocking door to door and say, hey, do you want to buy my thing? Hey, do you want to buy my thing? And maybe more recently, an example like Simona was giving, where you might be handing out flyers and doing a kind of direct sale. And maybe some elements of that are still relevant today, but how that was replaced with modern marketing can be explained almost how it is that you're sitting here with us, how we're all in this cool virtual room together talking and learning. And that's through something called funnel marketing. You can write something in the comments if you've heard that term before. I'd love to know if you have or you haven't. I'm going to change my camera and stop share and spotlight myself and start doing some drawings to explain this concept. But it is an idea that freaks a lot of people out and has been responsible for a lot of sales and marketing that has happened in the online space. Okay, so in the modern traditional sense, you had the man going and knocking on as many doors as he could, and a small portion of those people would say yes, and would invite him in for some tea, and you'd have a sales conversation with those people, and then a small portion of those people would actually buy the vacuum cleaner. Okay, and in the modern version of that happens in the online space, this portion here is called marketing. And instead of going knocking door to door these days, it looks like the content that we put out online on social media, or offering people some value in exchange for their information. For example, a free webinar in exchange for your email address. And that might feel familiar for literally how we got on this session. And then those people who are interested in what they heard and they felt like they were resonating with the people who were there might move into the sales phase, which in some businesses can look like a call and a conversation. So you might be having sales calls and meetings with your potential customers. And then those who agree move into the client phase, or what we call delivery phase, where you are delivering the thing that you sold. So those three phases, which in the traditional sense were very manual, in the modern sense can become extremely automated. So some of the elements in my business, this whole process can take place with almost no human contact, with a lot of tech involved, paid advertising, systems that take email addresses, systems that send pre-scheduled emails, and delivery of products that were pre-recorded. Like, that's a very modern version of how to do marketing. But it comes with a lot of tech. So there's a page here where you want to get somebody to sign up for a free thing, and then an automatic email that goes out, and then a whole bunch of sales emails that go to a sales page, and then a payment page, and then the session that you actually sold. And the problem that every single person wants to solve is, how do you get the people in the top of the funnel? So if you've heard of funnel marketing, it's literally talking about that, because of the shape of the volume of people who go from the number of people who have to see your initial touch point, which drops off and becomes smaller, of the people who hear your offer, of the people who become your client. And that's why it's called a funnel, a literal sales funnel. And every problem that people are looking to solve is, how do I get people in there? How do I get people to my shop front, to my door? And the modern ways that are available to us is with paid traffic. So you can pay somebody like Meta to show the person the page that they're going to sign up for your free webinar. And in that case, you're having to pull your money lever. You're going to pay for ads. And some people don't realize this, but the way that Meta and work, so Facebook and Instagram ads, is that for every person who signs up for a free thing, you pay per person. So that's called a cost per lead. And in the South African space of service providers and experts, that could range anything between 50 Rand and 150 Rand per email address per person who signs up. So that comes as a big shock to people. I mean, I've got clients running campaigns right now where that's what it costs. That means if you want, if it's costing you 100 Rand a lead and you want 5 people to join your potential lead list to come down the journey, that's 500 Rand in ad spend. The second way is what's called organic. So organic in the industry means, if you don't want to pull your money lever and pay for ads, you can pull your time lever and your energy lever, and you can create content. So you can use your own time and your own energy to make that resonating magnetic content that we spoke about, and you could drive them to come into your world. And then the last one is partner. So partner traffic. You could have relationships with people who give you referrals and who send people into your world. And those are the 3 primary ways in the modern space. But there's a new way that's emerged over the past, I'd say, decade or so, which is this third aspect I pointed at, which is called community. So yes, each one of you can go out and build your own engine like this. You can think about, how am I going to attract people into my world? How am I going to get them into the top of my funnel? How am I going to get traffic? Am I going to learn how to run ads? Am I going to pay someone to run ads? Am I going to make my own content? Am I going to pay someone to make content? Am I going to spend time networking? And have your own sales system, it's often called, out in the modern space. Or am I going to look for these very interesting spaces that have emerged over the past decade that use a marketplace strategy? So, if I was comparing to the vacuum cleaner salesman the other day, earlier now, then perhaps the best analogy for a marketplace or community-based way of solving the traffic problem is like a department store, like a big Harrods or Galerie Lafayette or one of these big stores where the store builds the structure, it attracts the people into the store, and inside the department store, there are all the micro sellers where you can walk from store to store. There's this brand, and then there's that brand, and then there's that brand. None of those people who are inside that department store have to worry about the traffic problem. The traffic problem is the department store's promise. They bring the traffic, as in this case, the foot traffic, and the vendor inside the department store benefits from that. And how this has started to emerge in the digital space is platforms like Airbnb, for example, this sharing economy, where Airbnb initially started out as a platform where people could list themselves, and Airbnb solved the traffic problem. So Airbnb made sure that they were having people coming to look at the website, and anybody who lists their property on there has an opportunity to not have to get their own traffic. And of course, there were all kinds of other benefits to that, like training that was provided, and help on how to set up a beautiful listing, and help on how to be a fantastic host, and the community meetings that happen in each neighborhood. And there are these examples of marketplaces that have emerged. So a third option, other than doing the door-to-door, other than building your own gigantic marketing machine, is to consider using a marketplace type platform. And those are the three key ways to get traffic: people, leads, eyeballs, potential seekers, to see what your unique offering is and what your unique message is. I'm going to come over and see if anybody's written any questions or comments while I've been talking about that. And Simona, if there's anything you want to hop in and say while I'm doing that, just let me know.
No, I think you're crushing it. Watching you in your zone of genius is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I'm just going to find the chat and just see if anything's come up before we move on. Okay, perfect.
I think everyone's very engaged.
So those are the three elements then, just to share, to go back to slides now that my pretty drawing time is finished. So we've got this modern idea of this big, personalized, owned by you system of attracting your seeker. And this is largely the space that I've been occupying, and that I've been working with my own clients, and that I am working with Simona for S.O.L.O, as in, how did you guys come here? How did we attract you into this session? But much more importantly, how is S.O.L.O attracting the seekers into the department store of S.O.L.O, to the marketplace of S.O.L.O? So that is where I spend my work, in this modern space. But I'm really fascinated and really in love with this community focused, almost crowdsource focused approach to building a business. I mean, I personally have been a host on Airbnb for years. I actually have online programs about Airbnb, and one of the reasons that I taught about it is I love the ethos of it. I love that someone had an idea that you could do sharing, that it said, hey, we don't all have to build our own websites, and we don't all have to build or find our own people who want to come on holiday. Why don't we all pay a percentage of what we're doing every night when we have a guest, and let Airbnb solve the traffic problem for us? And in a similar way, there are these fantastic projects like S.O.L.O that are doing that. And that is just a beautiful evolution of online brands and online marketing. So is there anything you want to chime in on that, Simona?
No, I think you're crushing it. I'm feeling very proud of what it is I've created, and this department store that many of us are in. Yeah, so I'm just feeling very proud right now. Yeah. I see we do have a question.
I'll just have a glance at this. I see we're getting some. Yay, someone's relieved they don't have to get back into ads. I can tell you that's not a joke. Okay, there's a whole bunch of stuff here that's talking about the portal. So I think that's the perfect time to actually transition into discussing what is happening with the portal now, this beautiful offer that you have available for those who wanna hop on and really crowdsource their marketing. I mean, I think that's one of the most beautiful evolutions of how marketing is happening, is if to say, hey, instead of we all get our own marketing machines going, let's make this space where people can come into. So I'll hand over to you then, Simona, to just reflect on that. What could that look like?
Yeah, so as most of you know, S.O.L.O has been going for 4 years and it's grown so organically. When Tamron came into my life, I just launched the portal. I was exhausted, and she's like, "Do you remember how we first met?" And I was like, And she's like, "You hosted a retreat for the Digital Warriors." So the Digital Warriors are a group of individuals that are absolutely crushing it in terms of like 6 figures, some really big names in the industry. And she says, "I've looked at your business and it's very similar to, the Digital Warriors. What did you think of the retreat?" And I was like, "Oh, Tamron, like, yeah, but they said they like hunters, they really hunt their clients, and they've got this whole marketing funnel thing, and it was all very overwhelming." And I was like, I feel like a little bit of a, maybe a gatherer. And when I heard this, I was like, actually, what the hell? Like, no, I am a hunter. Like, I've created something amazing and I want it to be even bigger and I want it to be even better. And that's why I actually chose to work with Tamron, because my whole purpose of S.O.L.O in the community is to bring in more seekers so that all the sages have abundance, because the work we do is so damn important and it needs to be remunerated. Like, gone are the days of trade exchange. We're doing important work and we need to be remunerated for it, and there are seekers. So now that we do have a beautiful community, which I'm happy to say is half seekers and half sages on S.O.L.O, it is now like, yes, we've got the portal set up and running. Sages, if you could jump on there, and the money and the income that comes from you contributing and subscribing to S.O.L.O is then for me to go and to engage in SEO and to do the marketing funnels, to be the department store. So this is the plan. This is what's going on. So what you're seeing, the support that I am giving you here as a sage, I will be doing and running very similar and very exciting things for seekers. And like a lot more is unfolding. As many of you know, this is a one-woman show over here. And so I'm going as fast as these little fingers can go with the help that I have. But there's big things in the pipelines to getting seekers in and getting S.O.L.O, like, really, you land in Cape Town and it's S.O.L.O. And then the goal is global, that no matter if we're going to Rio, where Eric is, or we're going to Southeast Asia, that there's going to be a S.O.L.O. You click onto the community and there is a sage that's going to offer something that resonates with you, a safe place for seekers. So that is the big goal. Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, like I said, I'm really in love with the evolution of the space, and I'm looking forward for you to just jump into the detail about what the portal looks like. Maybe there's some of the people either here or watching afterwards who haven't heard about how it works. So maybe just at a high level, what does it look like? How does it function? And then what is this founding member special that you have? And I'll just flick through everything as you tell me.
Cool. So the portal is an online directory and calendar. So many of our seekers complained that there was just too much high traffic. They were missing events. People were constantly looking for a gynae, for a shaman, for a yoga teacher, and like it was getting lost in the thread. So here we have the directory, an organized, beautiful place that your profile will be displayed. We have used beautiful ways so that you can tag. So if someone wants to do a Kundalini thing, they type in Kundalini, all the Kundalini teachers come up. Your profile will come up. It'll have testimonials and reviews. Something that's also very important to S.O.L.O is safety and integrity. So there is also a report button for any facilitators that people have felt unsafe with. And we have a whole elders group that we tackle situations, and it's really a beautiful and supportive space for me and for the community. So yeah, so a seeker would go on, type in what they're looking for. Either if it's, you know, a one-on-one, your profile will come up. And if it's an event, there's a beautifully organized event calendar. You can have multiple listings or pages. So say you do 2 types of offerings. Maybe you are a mushroom guide, and then also you sell microdosing. You can have 2 different businesses, and say you live in 2 different places of the world. The map kind of figures that out. So we've really tried to be very deliberate in connecting the seekers and the sages in the most simple, beautiful, efficient way. And so that is what the portal is. Deep breath.
Exciting. So up until now, I mean, even before we met, I know that you've actually launched this within the last couple of months, but the reason that you wanted to gather the community in this session was because you have a beautiful founding members offer that's out that is expiring at the end of this month. So maybe you want to take us through what that bundle is and why now is the perfect time to be a founding member. I'm going to hop onto the next slide where you talk about how you've thrown in some of your own personal help with the portal.
Yeah. So it's been such a beautiful education working with Tam and building this webinar and seeing how many of you really want more information and help with regards to your offer. So here we go, that when you sign up within this week, 1st of September, launch price is over, you get a profile optimization guide. So I've done beautiful videos and a whole thing so that it's going to be super, super easy for you to load your your profile onto the platform. And you can reach out to me. We will work together on your profile to see if it's perfect, it's aligned, it's succinct, and it's
all that
really
stuff we were talking about earlier, right?
Yes.
About that essence stuff. That what are you actually not saying that is what you should be saying?
And then something else that comes with that is that you will get a personal shout out. So we'll create something that really shouts out to the WhatsApp community, really going, hey, look, this sage is signed up on the portal. This is their profile. This is what they're about. And you will be on the email database. So our email database is now nearly 800 people. My mailer light is saying I need to upgrade. What an exciting thing. And as I say, our community is 1,600 people and growing. So you get the personal assistance, then exclusive access and marketing. So as we've seen, there's such a beautiful need and desire for these. So all the sages that are signing up, I'm going to be bringing other people like Tamarin onto calls to help us zone in onto certain aspects, whether it be more of our branding, more of how to do our social media. I'm getting Lauren Dallas from Future Females to come on here and show us how she built, like what she has done with her Instagram account is crazy. So that's going to be a new offer. And then this is actually, okay, they're all very exciting, but this one, the founding member benefits. So what happens on the 1st of September is that only sages that have subscribed to being a sage have admin rights. So whilst people are not a member, they can't post. Whatever you're offering is going to be totally on the highlights reel. You have got the floor, and that will never be repeated. So it really, really is a good time to sign up at this beautiful precipice.
Wow. That's amazing. Did you talk about this one already? This next one? No, your
Yeah,
personal.
I basically talked about all of it. Sorry, I like scooted right through.
Yay. Okay, so from what I'm understanding is your focus, Simona, and your drive is to build the database of seekers. So like this event now, a seeker will get a similar kind of event that is attractive for them, for something that they're looking for across various different topics of the stages that you have. And the commitment that S.O.L.O is making is to be that department store. Airbnb takes care of traffic for people who have their houses on there. Harrods brings foot traffic in the door, and S.O.L.O is about making sure that the seekers come in and that they are nurtured and that they feel safe and that the people who are on the portal are aligned and the type of person that they want to be working with. And I've seen a couple of comments in the chat like, oh my goodness, what a relief. I don't have to be making hectic funnels anymore. Mary was saying that. She's like, oh my hat, that was so exhausting. There's some beautiful comments about a question saying, how will you market S.O.L.O to make engaged traffic? And I think we started talking about that. Obviously, there's the side of nurturing seekers and making sure the right aligned seekers come in, as well as sages, with a much bigger focus on having seekers for you. What else have we got there? Oh, we got some suggestions for a notification button for when seekers and sages sign up. That's
so
amazing.
This one I'm very excited for. We're busy developing a ticketing system so that we aren't having to outsource. So everything is via S.O.L.O. So that's busy being built. And this notification button is the next thing that's going to be built. So yeah, in terms of like the amount of building that is being done to support us is very real. Simon, that I'm sure many of you know, is working ferociously up in Switzerland on the tech in the back door over there. So yeah, there's so much that I want to do and that I want to bring, and it really is about community and like Eric bringing in a suggestion. And I really appreciate comments. I'm totally up for suggestions.
That's amazing. Then, so I've gone through all of the elements that are still in the bundle up until the end of August. And then I see you've got just some pictures here to talk about what's happening after the end of August versus what is available still now for this last week of August. If you want to talk through any of that, and then I'll make sure that I've got some links for everyone to be able to jump in.
Great. So here you can see the difference between the Sage and the Sage Pro. It's really simple. If you do events, you're a Sage Pro. If you are a facilitator and you do one-on-ones, you're a Sage. So this gives you access to the calendar, and your event is there. And obviously you're using the group a little bit more regularly because you're posting a lot more, but you have posting rights for everything. And so as you can see, you definitely want to do the yearly plan because that's a 35% savings. Also, you want to do the yearly plan because, you're not coming in for a month. Your business is established. I'd like for you to invest in yourself. This is why we're all actually on this call, is because we all want to up level. So I really would like to invite you into that massive savings. Yeah. Do I need to go more into it, or is that substantial?
I think now's a nice time for any sort of discussion or comments, and we can unmute and even chat and ask something if you're here on the call. We've come to the end of talking about the portal and the teaching portion. You can also ask anything about some of the teachings that I did, but also just to ask any questions while we're here on Zoom. Feel free to just unmute and chat.
If anybody has any questions that they're shy about, you're always more than welcome to WhatsApp me. You know that my WhatsApp door is always open.
Yes, it is. And of
I had
course,
a friend look at it the other day and was horrified at
at your notifications.
looks like Heathrow
Yeah,
Airport.
you know, they say there's two different kinds of people. The one who've got like 3,542 emails, and you know, and then those who are down, who get down to 0 every day. Oh, I see someone's coming in.
Oh, Maxine, she is an epic sage. I was just at Medicine Festival with Maxine. Hello, my girl. We have a question here from Lauren. If you could maybe touch on any of best practice strategies for us as sages to make the most of the portal. So I would say the portal it's the WhatsApp community that is the driver to the portal. You know, that is your landing page. So it really is about being in the WhatsApp community, having your S.O.L.O link and saying like, this is where you can find me, and seeing if someone has an issue and saying, you know, check out my, you know, my S.O.L.O page. That's how the portal gets used. The more people that are being directed, the traffic is being directed to the portal. Yes, they're going to see your profile, but then they're also going to see someone else's. And this is the cross-pollination that's really, really important, and realizing that there is abundance. You know, it's also our responsibility to bring in more seekers. I'm sure, or I'd hope that each one of you has a substantial amount of seekers that you've already seen that have benefited from your services. So if you bring them into the S.O.L.O community, they're going to be seeing other people's offerings. And if the other person's also doing the same, and for instance, they've done a beautiful Reiki session with Lauren, and now they're ready to do some, you know, sacred sexuality or couples work with Kerry, you know, they will see Kerry's offering. So it also really is about not only me bringing in the seekers, but you bringing in the seekers to cross-pollinate, to support each other as sages. I hope that answers your question. Can you elaborate on the admin-only posting for the portal members? Which of the S.O.L.O groups will this apply to? So this will apply to the marketing group. The community chat will always stay the same. And the sexuality group, I will only permit sages that have, you know, it's going to be a little bit of a, you know, a learning curve for all of us. But anyone that has signed up will have admin rights, but on the marketing group. And I will be obviously very strict with it because no one else can post. So all conversations will be moving over to the chat. So there won't be any conversations on the events thing. So therefore, you are definitely going to be highlighted when you post something, because it's going to be a nice pinboard. Saying I missed a question from Lauren. The one that I was answering now. Oh, can you do without big social media presence and rely on S.O.L.O for all your marketing? I'm not Harrods just yet. I mean, I'm going to.
I mean, maybe I can jump in there a little bit. So, you know, we talked about, if you saw what I was drawing, that every single person who has something to sell has to solve the how do I get eyeballs on my offering problem. Okay. And I listed some options there. You can pay for ads, you can do organic, you can get partners, or you can be on a community platform. And Lauren, your question is talking about a big social media presence, which is just one of those traffic sources. That's just organic. So for example, I personally don't do an organic marketing strategy at all. If you go look at some of my pages, they're like a museum to, I think my LinkedIn profile looks like something that stopped happening in, you know, the year 2012 or something, because organic marketing is not my strategy, yet I have a fantastic pipeline of clients that I work with. So I'm telling that story to say that there are many alternatives to having a big social media presence where you don't have to constantly be churning things out. For example, paid ads, which is my primary strategy and which is going to be the portal's primary strategy to get seekers. But what Simona is proposing that you substitute your traffic strategy for is the community platform. So the answer to your question is yes, you can have a successful business without a big social media presence for multiple alternative traffic sources. And in this case, the portal is one of them.
Great. Thank you. Awesome.
Lauren, giggling at my LinkedIn museum. For sure. Organic is just one way of getting traffic, and it's not the only way. Thank heavens, because I do not like mindlessly and endlessly producing content.
I think we have come to our close. Any other questions?
I mean, if there are questions that come up afterwards, you've got the way that you got this link, you can respond to that email, or you can pop it directly to Simona. I'll be so happy to answer anything that's come up related to what I've been talking about. Obviously, Simona can share anything related to the portal and that beautiful bundle that's expiring soon. And the reason for it expiring is that Simona has got a big, audacious, hairy, magnificent, scary goal of building that marketing machine of attracting seekers, which takes an ad spend. And that is what the subscription is going to be doing, is attracting the seekers. And there needs to be a timeline at which we can start that project. And that's why we really want to make it just an absolute juicy no-brainer for you to jump off the fence and be part of this founding movement and literally crowdfund this project. And it's such a privilege for me to have been here and to help in such a small part to bring that to life.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and for being such a support. There's been a few meltdowns that Tamron has saved. Building this is big and beautiful and scary. And I really hope that you guys all see the love and the passion that I have for this community and for all of our growth.
Yay, wonderful. I see some people saying
I'd
goodbye.
love to chime
Thanks.
in.
Yes, go ahead.
So first of all, thank you. Thank you for providing this. It's a beautiful project, and I've seen some things like this, and but I see the driving force that's going behind it. And to anybody that's kind of like I don't know about this, like the only thing that I can say about from my experience is jump on every opportunity that you can get your voice out always. Like, this is an amazing platform, and I'm definitely jumping on. So
Yay,
yeah.
that's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. It's beautiful to hear how that landed. I have popped
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, continue. Well, I'm going to be collaborating a little bit with Eric at a later stage, and he has got some very juicy offerings, like very.
Oh, lovely. I'm looking forward to seeing them. I popped the links again. Somebody asked about the general portal link earlier, and I saw someone shared that. Thank you for being proactive on that. So that's the portal as you would see it. And then I've also put the special bundle links into our chat here for those who are going to hop in as a founding member.
And then tomorrow I will send you an email with all this information.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I must say I do a lot of online events, and that is not a joke. And I work with a lot of clients, and I can say that the amount of people who have taken time to be here together live, sharing space and time, is extremely rare. And that's how I know that something special is happening here.
Thank you.
So with that, I'll say good night. Have a beautiful day, night, wherever you are, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye, everybody. See you on the groups.